The moment Vine stepped into the grand, dimly lit hall of the secluded mansion, her heart thumped against her ribs like a caged bird. The air was thick with anticipation and attention she could almost touch. She barely had time to adjust her trembling hands over her flowing gown when a cold, sharp voice cut through the silence. Jungkook's eyes, dark and piercing, landed on her like a predator marking its territory. You are far prettier than I expected. Not that I care. Wine swallowed hard, forcing her lips into a polite smile despite the pit in her stomach. Her fingers clutched the edge of her dress, betraying her nerves. I'm not here to impress anyone. Jungkook's smirk curved just slightly, a dangerous glint in his eyes. Good, then we understand each other. You exist here for appearances, nothing more. Even as the word struck like a cold wave, one's mind raced. He's terrifying, but why does he look at me as if he's sizing me up like I'm something to conquer? The witnesses, her family, his loyal associates, waited silently, aware that the tension between them could snap at any moment. And Jungkook leaned in slightly, his presence almost overwhelming. This dress, it suits you almost as if it was made for me to admire. White felt heat rush to her cheeks, a mix of anger and disbelief. She wanted to lash out to remind him she wasn't some trophy. You are unbelievable. Do you always speak to people like this? Only the ones you find interesting. His gaze lingered on her with a hint of amusement that didn't reach his eyes. And you might just be worth my attention for now. Inside, one's thoughts betrayed her cautious curiosity. Why does he irritate me so much? Yet I can't look away. She straightened her shoulders, trying to maintain composure. Her voice calm but firm. I hope you know this marriage changed nothing between us. I'm not, I won't be yours in any way you think. Jungkook's lips twitched in a faint, mocking smile. He tilted his head, his pride radiating from every movement, every glance. I never asked for your consent. You should know better by now, yet that stubbornness is almost charming. The words made Wine's heart flutter involuntarily, and she bit the inside of her cheek to keep herself from reacting. She could feel the weight of his stare, the dangerous magnetic aura that surrounded him, and then, without warning, Jungkook stepped closer, so close that she could feel the cold edge of his presence against her warmth. Remember this wine? In this world, everything you do is mine to notice. Wine's breath hitched, her mind racing with defiance and forbidden fascination. Why is he like this? Why does every word make my chest ache and my head spin? Even as she prepared to pull away, Jungkook's hand brushed against her slight, calculated, and a shock of electricity ran through her veins. He didn't move away, instead, he came closer. We are married now. I won't tolerate anything less than perfection from you. Wine, refusing to be cold, lifted her chin. Perfection isn't mine to give Jungkook, and I'm not yours to command. The smirk on his face widened. Ah, she is fire. Perhaps that will make this marriage entertaining. Inside Jungkook's thoughts were a dangerous mix of irritation and intrigue. Why does she provoke me, and yet why does my chest tighten when she does? And for Wine, every word, every glance was a battle between fear and fascination, anger and the flicker of curiosity that maybe, just maybe, he was more than the cold, ruthless man everyone whispered about. The corridor of the mansion was silent except for the soft echo of their footsteps. Moonlight poured through the tall windows, casting long shadows that danced across the marble floor. One's hands trembled slightly as she faced him, the chill in the air doing nothing to calm her racing heart. You think this marriage gives you the right to control me? Her voice was firm, yet her chest tightened with every word. He leaned casually against the wall, one hand tucked into his pocket, the other brushing lightly against the polished wood. His smirk was slow, deliberate, and infuriating. Control? No, I just want what's mine, and right now that's you. Once breath caught, she lifted her chin, meeting his gaze without flinching, though her pulse was a drum in her ears. What makes you think I belong to anyone? Jungkook stepped closer, his presence suffocating and magnetic. The shadows seemed to cling to him, enhancing the deepest perfection in his posture. Belong? I don't claim you yet, but don't mistake my patience for weakness. The tension was electric, crackling between them. Every word, every glance was a battle, and then, in the heat of the moment, his hand came up not aggressively but possessively and tilted her chin toward him. His lips claimed hers in a sudden fire kiss. Mine froze, shock rooting her in place, her body tense as the kiss burned with dominance and raw, expected passion. Her mind screamed, "What is he doing? How dare he?" But a strange warmth flared in her chest despite her fear. When he finally pulled back just enough to look at her, his dark eyes were smoldering with an unreadable mix of satisfaction and irritation. Did that surprise you? Mine, still trembling, tried to step back, but the sound of the heavy door creaking made them both freeze. His mother appeared, her sharp eyes sweeping over them. "Oh, what's going on here? You two look very cozy." Jungkook's smirk shifted into something almost tender, almost rehearsed. He pressed a hand lightly against Wine's back, guiding her closer, and whispered softly, though loud enough for his mother. "We were just talking, mother. Isn't that right, Wine?" Wine blinked, momentarily stunned as he tilted her chin up, holding her gaze and making it possible to refuse. She felt the fire of tears linger on her lips and the weight of his commanding presence all at once. Yes, just talking. Her voice was quiet, obedient in public, but her mind screamed rebellion. As his mother nodded approvingly and walked away, Chunguk's eyes darkened again, his lips twitching into a dangerous private smile. She resists, yet every figure of defense tempts me more than I had cared to admit. Her fire, it's intoxicating. Wine turned her head, her fingers pushing against the corridor wall of for balance. I hate him, I'm terrified of him, and yet why does my heart race every time he's near? He finally stepped back, letting just enough space remain between them, though the tension was still thick, almost suffocating. Do not forget wine. Appearances can be deceiving. In private, the rules are mine. Wine's hands clenched at her sides, her pulse still rapid, yet she refused to show submission. "I will never be yours to command, Chunguk, and don't think you can scare me." Chunguk's lips curved into a smirk, a spark of amusement flickering through the shadows. Good. Let her resist, let her fight. It will make this far more interesting than I expected. This mansion was unusually quiet that night, the corridors lit only by the faint glow of antique lamps. Wine had just returned from one of Jungkook's assignments, a task involving his associates' papers and intelligence she barely understood. She was exhausted, but the moment she stepped into the private lounge, a sharp chill ran down her spine. A folded note sat atop the polished table, written in jagged, threatening letters. "You are stepping into dangerous waters. Step away or face consequences." Wine's hands trembled. She didn't even have time to process the message before the sound of footsteps echoed behind her. Jungkook appeared in the doorway, his dark eyes scanning the note, his jaw tied with barely contained fury. "Who sent this?" I don't know, but before she could finish, he swept into the room, his presence all consuming. He grabbed her hand, gripping it firmly. One felt the still radiating off him, the kind of protective dominance that left no room for argument. No one threatens you, no one. Without warning, he pulled her close, lips pressing against her neck so far, so consuming that one's breath caught painfully in her chest. It was possessive, ardent, and relentless. Every barrier she had tried to maintain crumbling under his overwhelming weight. Jungkook, what? He silenced her with another kiss deeper this time, and even when she tried to step back, he wouldn't let go. His hands tangled in her hair, drawing her possibly closer. I can't stop. I don't want to stop. She's mine. I'll make her understand, even if I have to consume her entirely. Wine's mind spun fear, confusion, and a strange thrill tangled inside her. Every heartbeat felt like an electric charge between them. The moment was interrupted by the sound of laughter from the main hall. Jungkook's mother entering unexpectedly, yet even with witnesses nearby, he didn't release her. Instead, he adjusted her posture, tilting her chin up, kissing her softly again, and then stepping back with a smooth, almost practiced charm. Mother just enjoying some quiet time with Vine. His voice was calm, but his dark eyes glinted with mischief and pride. One cheek flushed as her pulse raced, both from his touch and the audacity of pretending in front of his mother while still feeling the aftershocks of his passion. Later that night, everyone had left. Jungkook finally let her go. He sank into the armchair, shoulders tense, aware vulnerability breathing through his otherwise cool demeanor. Why did you force this marriage? He looked away, jaw clenched, and for the first time his voice carried a fragile honesty. Because if I didn't, someone else would take you, and I can't lose what's mine. Wine blinked, caught between fear, anger, and an inexplicable warmth. She realized then that behind his arrogance and cruelty there was a man who cared for more than he wanted to admit. And yet his manipulations continued days later. He would tease her in subtle ways, making her aware that he noticed every small action, every smile, every resistance. He would act distant one moment, then claim her attention the next, leaving her frustration and achingly aware of his obsession. Even in public, forced to act as the perfect couple in front of his associates, the tension between them was palpable. A touch lingered too long, a glance carried silent warnings, and one felt herself caught in the gravitational pull of a man who was as dangerous as he was intoxicating. I hate him, I fear him, and yet every time he's near, every time he looks at me that way, I can't think straight. She challenges me, she frustrates me, but she's mine, and I'll make her feel it every moment, every glance, every kiss. The emotional roller coaster continued pushing, pulling, teasing, protecting until neither could deny the intensity between them. Every argument became a prelude to tension, filled intimacy, every touch a reminder of desire tangled with danger. And in the quietest moments when no one watched, he couldn't stop kissing her, couldn't stop reminding her that she was his in ways both tender and terrifying. The rain had softened to a gentle drizzle, washing the city in silver lights as Vine stood on the balcony wrapped in a soft shawl. Her thoughts drifted over the months, the arguments, the relentless tension, the stolen moments of vulnerability. Her chest ached with memories of him, of the forbidden explosive connection. Footsteps echoed behind her, slow and deliberate. Jungkook emerged from the windows, his presence commanding as always. The heat of him seemed to consume the space around her. Thinking again, why didn't turn immediately? She felt him before she saw him, the pull, the dangerous aura that always made her pulse quicken. Always, her voice was soft, almost shy, but layered with warmth about everything about you. He stuck closer, his dark eyes fixed on her, smoldering with pride and something deeper, something she had glimpsed only in the weirdest, unguarded moments. I didn't think I would ever admit it. Admit what? Her heart thudded, curiosity and fear mixing in a delicious tension. Without another word, he tilted her chin upward, brushing his thumb across her cheek, his eyes locked on hers, dark and commanding, and then his lips descended on hers. The kiss was electric, fires possessive, yet it made his hands tangled in her hair, holding her impossibly close. One finger pressed against his chest, feeling the hard strength beneath the fabric. The warmth radiating from him, her breath hissed, caught somewhere between shock and desire. She's mine, she will always be mine. He deepened the kiss, one hand moving to her waist, pulling her flesh against him. Every part of him pressed into her, every heartbeat synchronized with hers. Wine could barely think, could barely breathe, lost in the sensation of him, the overwhelming mix of passion, dominance, and hidden tenderness. She whispered against his lips a soft, bitty sound. Jungkook, you are impossible. He chuckled against her mouth, a low, throaty sound that sent shivers down her spine. And yet you stay. Every time you stay, he lifted her slightly onto the balcony, wailing their bodies pressed together, veins sliding her, clinging to her face and neck. The word narrowed to just them, the storm, the city lights, and the heat of their connection. He kissed her again, slower this time, savoring every reaction, every trembling beat. His lips roamed hers was gentle insistence, then fiery urgency, tracing a path that left her light-headed and aching for more. I missed completely, and somehow I have never felt more alive. Finally, he pulled back just enough to rest his forehead against hers, his hand lingering on her waist. Breathing shallow but controlled. Forever won't be enough. One smiled softly, fingers pushing the side of his face. Then I guess we will have to make every moment count. The rain fell around them like a quiet applause. The city blew a silent witness, and in that balcony, at that moment, every barrier, every argument, every danger had melted away, leaving only them tangled, passionate, and irrevocably bound.